I can still picture the day my parents talked to me in our living room just like it was yesterday. I was 7 years old, wearing my favorite purple dress that had butterflies on it, holding my old teddy bear tightly. Mom and Dad said they will not live together anymore. They were very relaxed about it. No yelling. Don't throw things. Two grown-ups who stopped loving each other, choosing to part ways. I didn't shed any tears. I might have been too young to fully get what was going on. They split everything up really well. Mom got the house. Dad got a new apartment. I have 2 bedrooms. The custody plan was easy. 1 week with Mom and 1 week with Dad. And Dad, being Dad, made sure that Mom and I had enough money to be okay. Around a year after the divorce, Dad met Sarah. I can still recall the first time he brought us together at a nearby diner. She had nice eyes and a friendly smile. Her son, Tommy, was sitting beside her, playing with his French fries. "Hi, Brittany," Sarah said, smiling wide. "Your dad has shared a lot about you." Tommy raised his head from his plate. "Will you be my sister?" I liked them right away. Sarah was real and didn't put in too much effort or pretend to be nice, unlike some of Dad's past dates. She was just genuine. Tommy was 3 years younger than me, and he became the brother I always wanted. At that time, Mom began going out with Richard. He settled in really fast. I saw that Mom acted differently. She looked distracted and kept touching her stomach when she thought no one could see her. They had a little wedding at City Hall. 2 months later, my half-sister, Emily, came into the world. I remember being in the hospital room, seeing this small pink baby in Mom's arms. Richard was watching them closely, very focused. I was in the corner, moving my feet back and forth. It was like I was seeing a family picture being made, one that I wasn't part of. Dad and Sarah got married in that year. Their wedding was unique. They made sure that Tommy and I were part of everything. Sarah let me help choose her dress. At the ceremony, Dad made special promises to Tommy and me. "Today, I'm not just getting a wife," he said, his voice full of feeling. "I'm getting another child to love. Our 2 wonderful kids are getting a larger family." That night, when Sarah put me to bed at their house, she kissed my forehead. "You know, Brittany," she said, "I always wanted a girl. Thanks for including me in your life." I gave her a big hug. Even then, I knew that my family situation was not normal, but I was lucky to have at least one home where I really belonged. Things at Mom's house were different after Emily came along. It was not a big deal. No mean words or bad treatment. I felt like I was slowly disappearing like a ghost in my own house. Mom stopped working to take care of the house full-time. Everything started to focus on Emily. At first, I told myself it was okay. A baby definitely needs more care. But as the months went by, people began to forget. Small things at the beginning, then larger ones. I remember being outside school in the rain, seeing other kids go with their parents after the meeting with the teachers. My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Johnson, stayed with me for nearly an hour before she called my mom. "Who now was that today?" Mom's voice was shaky on the phone. "I'm really sorry. I went to Emily's Mommy and Me class. Can we change the time?" We didn't set a new time. Richard picked me up that day. He hardly looked at me while driving home and was talking on his phone about work the whole time. Then my 10th birthday arrived. I woke up happy and ran downstairs, hoping to hear a happy birthday from Mom. I saw her busy taking care of Emily in the kitchen. "Mom," I said, standing by the door, "do you know what day it is?" She glanced up, not paying attention. "Tuesday." "Oh, I have to take Emily to her doctor." I stood there, feeling really sad. "Today is my birthday." Her eyes got bigger. "Oh, Brittany, I'm really sorry. We will have a celebration this weekend, all right? I have a lot happening today because of Emily's checkup. The weekend passed, and nobody talked about my birthday anymore. It got simpler to hang out at Dad's place. Sarah always kept my favorite snacks in the pantry. Tommy and I would spend a lot of time playing video games or working on homework together. Dad always went to every school event. Sarah often joined us, taking pictures and smiling like I was her own daughter. I began to spend more and more time there. Some days became weeks and then months. Mom hardly noticed at all. When I was at her house, she was always busy with Emily, feeding her, playing with her, and taking her to playdates. Richard would get home from work, give Emily a kiss on the forehead, and go to his home office. Sometimes I thought about whether they would even see if I was gone for good. After around 6 months of me pretty much living at Dad's all the time, he chose to make it official. "I talked to your mom today," he said to me one evening. "I believe it is a good idea for you to stay here for a long time. You're here a lot already. I told her I would stop the alimony payments because I am taking care of you all the time now." Mom was at the door in just a few hours, looking worried and saying kind things. "I really missed you a lot," she said, hugging me for the first time in what felt like a long time. "I've been thinking about everything, and I want us to return to our original plan. I want you to be home with me half the time, just like we used to." I was 12 at that time, old enough to understand it. The quick worry. They promised to improve. It wasn't about not having me around. It was about the cash. Dad's alimony checks were the main reason she wanted me back. Emily was 5 when she began showing off to me. She would walk around the house with a proud smile, saying things when Mom and Richard couldn't hear. "Daddy says you're not really part of our family," she said to me one day while I was doing my homework at the kitchen table. "He says you're only here for a visit." I tried to ignore her and focus on my math problems, but she just kept talking. "Mommy and Daddy love me more than they love you. Last night, Daddy told Mommy he was tired of you staying here. Mommy said, just wait until you are 18. Then the money will stop and you will be gone." It was painful. Yes, it did. But I had learned to put up walls around that hurt. My dad and Sarah taught me what true family love is. Tommy was like a brother to me, much more than Emily could ever be. Hearing your own mom counting down the days until she didn't have to deal with you anymore really hurts. The years went slowly until, at last, I reached high school graduation. I sat in the middle of my 2 families during the ceremony. Dad, Sarah, and Tommy are on one side. Mom, Richard, and Emily are on the other side. It felt like being in the middle of 2 different worlds. After the ceremony, Dad gave me a big hug. "We're really proud of you, Princess," he said. At the same time, Mom and Richard were already discussing my leaving before we had even left the school parking lot. "So," Richard said, shaking his car keys, "have you begun packing yet?" They didn't ask me about what I want to do after high school. I didn't care that I got into the business program with a partial scholarship. They didn't even act like they cared about my future. They just wanted to know when I would leave them alone. After 2 weeks, I took my stuff to Dad's house. I remember sitting in his living room, feeling nervous about asking for help with college costs, even though I knew he would never say no. "Dad, I got into the financial analyst program," I said, holding the acceptance letter in my hands. I received a partial scholarship, but before I could finish, Dad and Sarah looked at each other and smiled. "We have it all sorted, sweetie," Sarah said, taking out a folder. "We started saving for your college money when you were 8. I worked at the Silver Spoon Cafe that summer, saving every penny I could. I mostly worked in the mornings, so I had my afternoons free to be with my real family. Tommy and I went to the movies. Sarah showed me how to make good meals for when I live in the dorm. And Dad, well, Dad just kept being himself. Always there to give advice or a hug when I needed it. My mom didn't call to ask what I was doing. They never came by to check on me. She never seemed to care that her oldest daughter was getting ready to go to college. At that point, I had given up on thinking she would care. College life began with many new people and experiences all around. My dorm room was small but comfortable, and my roommate, Jenny, was really nice. But we didn't become good friends. I had so much going on with classes and my job at the campus cafe that I hardly had a moment to relax. I made sure to call Dad and Sarah 2 times every week. They visited whenever they had the chance. Tommy would come with me, grumbling about carrying my laundry basket, but always bringing my favorite snacks from home. Mom didn't call. Never. I turned 19 and she didn't even send me a text. I really shouldn't have looked at my phone that day. I shouldn't have had hope. But it's tough to change old habits. Later that night, I made a mistake by looking at her Facebook page. There were many pictures of her perfect family. Mom, Richard, and Emily are at the beach. Emily's dance show. Eating together with family. Celebrating holidays. Every photo is set up to show their joy. Every caption is about spending time with my family and loving them. I wasn't part of any of them, of course. I was left out of their family picture a long time ago. After that, I focused on my studies, wanting to show that I could succeed without needing their approval. The years went by quickly, and soon I was walking across the stage to get my diploma in financial analysis. Dad cheered really loud, like I had just won a big medal. After graduation, Sarah came to me with a chance. Her brother Mark had a successful investment business in our town, and she told him about my school successes. The interview with Mark was good. He was friendly and professional, similar to Sarah, getting to the point while making you feel comfortable. "Your qualifications are really good," he said, looking over my resume. "I need to be clear. Just because you are my sister's stepdaughter doesn't mean you will get any special treatment here. You need to show what you can do, just like everyone else." "I wouldn't want it any different," I said. I got the job and rented a small 1-bedroom place close to work. It wasn't a lot, but it was my own. I put in more effort than I ever have. Doing the projects that others didn't want to do. Working late to make financial models better. Creating clear growth plans for our clients. The results were clear. The client portfolios I managed grew a lot. The company made a lot more money. Mark saw. He didn't show favoritism, but he did think it was important to reward good work. I got the bonuses and raises because I worked hard for them, not because of family ties. I used my surprise year-end bonus to buy gifts for my real family. A new golf set for Dad, who has been using the same clubs for 15 years. A weekend spa package for Sarah, who has never treated herself before. Tommy got the newest gaming console, even though he was still using his old one from high school. Watching them open their gifts and seeing their real happiness and surprise made me feel something warm in my chest. I may not be in one family photo album, but I found a better place in another one. After 5 years of working hard, I had a good plan. Each month I save a part of my paycheck in my savings account. I looked into the housing market carefully, searching for the right property. I wanted a simple place that feels nice, maybe with a little garden. I really wanted to make a big down payment so that my monthly mortgage payments would be easier to handle. Then the phone call came that changed everything. I was sitting at my desk looking at quarterly reports when my phone lit up with a number I hadn't seen in a long time. "Brittany, dear," Mom's voice was very sweet. I have been thinking about you a lot recently. I almost spilled my coffee. After 9 years of silence, here we are. How are you, Mom? I made sure my voice was calm. Oh, sweetheart, I miss you. Everyone does. How about coming over for dinner this weekend? Emily is back from college and Richard is cooking his special pot roast. I was really curious. On that Saturday, I drove to my old house in my new Mercedes. Not fancy, but dependable and professional. Emily opened the door and looked me over with obvious curiosity. Nice car, she said to say hello. The house was pretty much the same. The furniture is the same. Same family pictures on the walls. Still not one of me. Mom ran up to hug me like we had just met yesterday. Sweetheart, you look amazing. You look really professional in that suit. Richard, doesn't she look like she's doing well? Richard nodded and took out my chair. We heard you are doing great at Mark's company. The family grapevine says you are one of the best at what you do. During dinner, they asked me many questions about my job, how much I earn, and my car. Mom kept saying how costly everything is now, especially with Emily in college. That's a really nice watch, Mom said, reaching for my wrist. It probably cost a lot of money. I smiled nicely. Dad and Sarah gave it to me for my birthday. Sure it was, she said, her smile getting a bit smaller. They always spoiled you. The dinner led to more invites. Out of the blue, Mom wanted to be involved in my life again. She would call often, come to my apartment without telling me first, and ask me to join family dinners. Emily would walk around my small apartment, looking at everything carefully. This place is a bit small, she said once. I thought you earned a lot of money. I made my answers unclear. It works for me. Mom would say, but you must be thinking about getting a new one soon with your pay. I would smile and talk about something else. Their sudden interest in my life made me feel uncomfortable. It took place on a Sunday afternoon. Emily came to my apartment thinking it would be a good time to connect with her big sister. I was in the kitchen making coffee when I heard her take a deep breath from my living room. Wow, she said, looking at my laptop screen. I left my banking app open after I paid some bills. Is that really the amount of money you saved? I walked over fast and shut the laptop. It's not nice to look at other people's private information, Emily. She didn't pay attention to what I said. Why are you putting away so much money? What is it for? I thought about it but decided it was okay to tell her. I'm going to buy a house soon. I want to make a nice down payment so my mortgage payments are not too high. Emily just nodded, but I could tell she was thinking a lot. She left soon after, saying she had to meet some friends. The next day, Mom called to ask me to dinner. When I sat down at their dining table, I could tell something was wrong. Mom had that look she would get when she was going to ask Dad for more money for us. Emily told me you save a lot, she said, handing over the potatoes. That's great, sweetie. Emily is really struggling with college costs, and she will need a place to live after she finishes school. I had a bite of my food and didn't say anything. It would be really nice if her successful big sister could help her, Mom said, hinting at the idea. Family supports each other, right? I set my fork down. I don't get what you mean, Mom. Oh, come on, Brittany, she said, stopping the nice behavior. You are doing really well. Emily wants help with an apartment and you have plenty of money saved. It would be the best choice to make. I looked at her in surprise. What should I do? Are you saying I should give Emily my house down payment? You have a good job already, Richard said. Emily is just beginning. She needs help more than you do. I am not established, I said clearly. I'm putting in a lot of effort and saving my money to create my own future. I won't give Emily my savings." Mom looked unhappy. "Are you really going to watch your sister have a hard time while you have all that money? After everything we've done for you?" I nearly laughed at that. "What have you done for me?" "What do you mean exactly?" "Did you forget my birthdays?" "Forget about me for years. Are you going to push me away for Emily?" "You're being selfish," Richard said quietly, looking away from me. "A true sister would want to help." "A true mother would have supported both her daughters," I replied, getting to my feet. "I am putting myself first. Emily is your job, not mine." The quiet that came after was really loud. Mom sat quietly, her jaw tight, while Richard stared at his food. Emily didn't come to this dinner, but I can picture how she would react when they tell her later. Poor Emily, her selfish big sister, wouldn't let her have a free apartment. 2 weeks after that bad dinner, I had to go on a work trip to Singapore. Mark trusted me with a big client presentation, but I would be hard to reach for most of the time because of the time difference and my busy schedule. "I will be away for around 10 days, I said to Mom when she called, trying to be polite even though we had a fight recently. "I want to tell you that I won't be able to talk for a while." "Oh, you're abroad, right?" "That's nice for you," she said, sounding strangely interested. The trip was good, but when I got home and turned off airplane mode, my phone was full of notifications. Bank alerts. Many of them. My hand began to shake as I looked through them. Moving accounts. $1,750. The world began to turn. I hurried home, opened my laptop, and signed into my banking app. There it is. A big transfer to an account I didn't know. But what is the name on the transfer? Patricia Warren. My mom's name. I drove to their house really fast, with my banking app screenshots open on my phone. When I knocked on their door, Richard opened it with a smug smile that really made me angry. "Where is she?" I insisted, moving past him. Mom was in the living room, relaxed and calm, looking at a magazine. "Oh, you returned. How was your trip?" I pushed my phone towards her face. "What is this? How did you move money from my account?" She hardly looked at the screen. "I don't understand what you mean." "Please don't lie to me." "It's here, a transfer to your account. How did you make it happen?" Mom finally stopped pretending to be innocent. She set her magazine aside and smiled. Really smiled. "Okay." I sent the money. "Emily needs a place to live, and since you weren't helping, we took matters into our own hands. How did you get into my apartment?" My voice was trembling. "Oh dear." She took a key out of her purse. "Do you remember when I used your bathroom that day I came over? Making a copy takes just a minute." I felt really bad in my stomach. "Please return my money right away, or I will have to call the police." Mom really laughed. "Don't be silly. You will not go to the police. I am your mom. Also, you can always save money again. You have a nice job and no responsibilities. Emily really needs this more than you do. We have found her the perfect apartment." "I mean it," I interrupted her. "Give me back my money or I'm—" "What happens next?" Mom made a mean face. "Are you really going to send your own mom to jail?" "Sure." "You don't have the courage." Richard took my arm and began to push me to the door. "It's time for you to go." "This is your final opportunity," I told them. "Please return my money." Mom just waved goodbye with a little smile. Richard pushed me out onto the porch and closed the door in my face. It was a calm night at the police station. I sat in front of Detective Martinez, my hand calm as I filled out the complaint form. I wrote down everything: the transfer that wasn't allowed, pictures of the banking app, and texts with my mom about my business trip. Richard called me that night. His voice went from making threats to asking for help. "You have to take back the complaint," he said. "Do you know how your actions are affecting your mother? Your mom is crying." I ended the call. Let her be sad. I had cried many times over the years because of her. The legal process went surprisingly fast. The proof was clear, and Mom's bold confession about the stealing didn't make things better for her. She sat in the courtroom acting like a sorry mother, tears running down her face as she said she would give back every penny. "I just wanted to help my little girl," she cried to the judge. "I let my motherly feelings affect my thinking." I nearly laughed really hard. Motherly feelings. Since when has this been happening? The judge did not seem impressed. "Mrs. Warren, your motherly feelings made you steal and cheat your other daughter on purpose. The only reason you won't go to prison is that you agreed to pay everything back and you don't have a criminal record. She received a suspended sentence and must give my money back in 30 days. I got a restraining order against her and Richard just to be careful. My dad and Sarah stayed with me the whole time. They sat behind me in court, brought me dinner when I was too tired to cook, and never once said, 'I told you so,' about letting Mom back into my life. You made the right choice," Sarah said to me after the sentencing. They had to understand that they couldn't use you anymore. Tommy, as usual, tried to make everyone feel better. "Now you really know which family loves you." He was correct. The lines are clear now. I had my real family, Dad, Sarah, Tommy, and even Mark, who were really helpful during the whole situation. Then there were the others, Mom, Richard, Emily, who showed who they really were in a very dramatic way. It has been 6 months since that time. My money is back in my account, making interest while I look for a house. I'm looking at a nice 3-bedroom colonial with a fenced backyard, only 10 minutes from Dad and Sarah's house. The mortgage papers are being worked on, and this time I have the only keys to my house. Mom still tries to contact me sometimes through family or friends we both know. She says she has changed, that she is sorry, and that she wants to fix things. But I'm finished giving chances to people who only see me as something to use. Last night I had dinner with my family to celebrate my new house that I am going to buy. While we were at Sarah and Dad's dining table, telling jokes and talking about my housewarming party, I noticed something. Sometimes the family you pick is better than the family you come from. Sometimes it's best for you to let go of bad relationships. In 2 weeks, I will sign the papers for my new house. My dad is planning to help me paint the walls, and Sarah has been sending me links to furniture she thinks would be great for my living room. This is what family is all about, people who care for you, love you, and would never think of hurting you for their own benefit. Mom, Richard, and Emily can hold on to their nice family pictures and their tricky games. I have something better. A true family. A clean mind. And soon, a house with just one set of keys.